Welcome to another installment of Crossroads Real Estate, Wisconsin licensed real estate broker. Today I want to talk about how some brokers tie themselves into charging higher commissions to list a property for sale. Also want to talk about things all brokers have in common and what sets Crossroads Real Estate apart from other brokers. Now, if you or your friends are paying more than a 4.5% commission to sell your home or property, you're paying too much. Based on the current average sale price of $300,000, I can save the average homeowner $4,500 in commission on the sale of their home. I also offer extended discounts if you are buying a new home. So call me for details. Okay, one of the questions is, what's the difference between an independent broker and a large franchise broker? Well, for one thing, we may use a different MLS. The MLS is a service we pay for to collect data on property for sale in Wisconsin. Some MLSs offer a lot better services and tools than others. Monthly fees and startup fees may be a factor. After working with a number of MLS services in Wisconsin, I can say the Milwaukee Metro MLS is far and beyond one of the best MLS services in Wisconsin. Their service, layouts, and interface on their website is second to none, including the all-important market updates and CMAs every buyer and seller should receive before making a decision, which is why I decided to stay with the Milwaukee Metro MLS, even though I moved out of the territory up towards Sheboygan. Okay, all MLSs in Wisconsin share the same information. The difference being is how that information is shared with customers and clients. The printout sheets are different. The reports that we send out are different. And I just think that the Milwaukee Metro MLS has the best layouts that are easier to read, easier to understand. Okay, what's another difference? The main difference that I see is the advertising fees. Some real estate agents and brokers choose to pay high monthly advertising fees to attract new business. I don't have to remind you, those fees are passed on to who? You, the client, resulting in, of course, much higher commissions. Other costs incurred include franchise fees, rent, building costs, and of course the usual office supplies, taxes, and dues, the latter being all equal. Well, the thing I don't like about online advertising is the fact most online advertising is sold on auctions where agents and brokers bid against one another for online leads. Imagine your personal information is sold at an auction. How does that make you feel? Over the years, I have seen that bidding get out of control. Prices going up from a few $100s a month to thousands of dollars a month, especially for small, influential market areas, usually consisting of higher priced homes. If you think about it, those areas are facing a major decision when they choose a broker to sell their property. They can choose to shop online for a broker. Those websites, of course, display agents and brokers who outbid others for that coveted spot on those major websites. When those homeowners choose those featured agents on popular websites, of course, the advertising fees are being passed on to who? The consumer. In a sense, homeowners in influential areas are being penalized for living in a particular zip code when they choose a broker online. Home sellers need to use a little common sense to save money, which, of course, amounts to thousands of dollars. The thing I don't like about advertising online or paying for services to collect leads is the fact I've talked to a number of those services. I spend time on the phone allowing them to give me their canned, scripted pitch. Then I ask a few questions. One conversation with a major online real estate website stands out. I asked the salesperson how they collect their leads. I want to add, I am a professional negotiator. I learned from my dad how to negotiate. He represented city workers in Milwaukee for years and negotiated some of the best contracts for city workers. I took classes on negotiating and sat down with my dad to go over strategies. One of the best strategies is the introduction to a negotiation. Make the other person or party look like they're the professional. Build up their confidence. When you do that, they begin to drop valuable information you can use for later negotiations. While talking to the salesperson for gathering leads, I use that strategy. I built up their confidence. They couldn't help but use that opportunity to brag about what they knew and the methods their company used to gather leads. The answer didn't surprise me. We used undisclosed sources to gather information. I asked if some of those undisclosed sources were overseas. The answer was yes. Now, I don't want to speculate on what those overseas sources actually are. You can use your own imagination for that. Think about that next time you open your email and see all those spam emails that treat you with absolutely no respect. Another thing I do is read all the fine print on every agreement. I mean, reading contracts is part of my job. Some of those agreements make mention of data gathering and sharing. Years ago, the major companies that supply data leads, as well as free email accounts and other free email services, tell you they share your information. That's code word for sell your information at the highest bidder. Well, that includes overseas services. Now, all that rubs me the wrong way. I can never bring myself to paying for a service that supports data gathering, spam emails, and spam phone calls. All those services disrespecting people and dwelling in gray areas that may or may not be legal. In my opinion, should be illegal. I've been working with state and federal representatives in Wisconsin to eliminate all that spam we live with every day. The last thing I'm about to do is fund it and expect my clients to reimburse me for such a poor decision. In a way, having me sell your home is your way of fighting online spam and internet spying. Now, what factors do independent brokers share with the large franchise brokers? Well, for one thing, we all use the same online software available to write and organize contracts for listings and purchasing property. Wisconsin, like most other states, use standardized state forms for all the contracts. It doesn't matter what broker you choose to work with. We all use the exact same forms. Well, what about training? Well, Wisconsin, like other states, has standardized training for brokers and real estate agents. Every 2 years, all agents and brokers have refresher courses to pass to renew their license. So the training, the paperwork is all equal, the training is all equal. Okay, what about your basic online exposure? Every Wisconsin broker who is a member of the National Association of Realtors and Wisconsin Realtors Association share the exact same online exposure. All the Wisconsin MLSs work under an agreement to share listing data, which is shared on all the online sites providing a list of real estate property for sale. It doesn't matter what broker you choose. The online worldwide internet exposure, for the most part, is the same. Now, some brokers may offer additional exposure on their own websites, which of course consist of additional startup and monthly fees. I've called and I've checked on the prices to add these services to my website, and when I got the prices, I said, no way, it's not worth it. But those personal websites attract such a small percentage of traffic compared to major websites. Of course, brokers have the choice to pay fees to appear on the top of search engine lists. That's another thing a lot of these major brokers do. They pay high monthly fees to show up on the top of a search engine list. But that, of course, is another cost passed on to who? You, the home seller. Home sellers are their only source of income. So they're going to spend all their advertising dollars to try to attract all those leads for people looking to list their homes. When you get to know how the real estate market actually works, you'll learn that the majority of properties sell because an agent emailed the listing off the MLS directly from the MLS to a buyer or buyers are working with. The buyer called the agent and set up a showing appointment. It's that easy. There's no magic fairy dust a broker can use to change the basic real estate marketing plan that has been working since the internet came on the scene. The problem is finding those buyers before another agent does. That is why buying leads for buyers is so popular. Every move you make on the internet is recorded. Visit a real estate website, and don't be surprised if you start getting emails from, number one, services that claim to recommend top agents or agents who pay for buyer leads. Now, one thing you gotta be aware of when you start getting these emails from agencies that claim to recommend the top agents. I've talked to over 100 of these agencies, and guess what? I get phone calls, probably my phone will probably go off with one of these services calling me, spam phone calls. And I always ask, my first question I've always asked, because I talk to my representative up here that's working in Washington trying to eliminate these things and write laws against spam phone calls. The first question I always ask is, are you licensed? You know what? 80% of them hang up. The other 20% admit they don't have a license. And guess what? It is illegal to pay a part of your commission to someone who is not a licensed broker or real estate agent. In other words, to collect leads, there's a whole bunch of brokers and agents that are willing to just break the law to get a lead. So you really want to work with agents like that. Okay, what services makes Crossroads Real Estate stand out? Number one is pictures. I've got the latest camera technology, specialized lenses that make real estate, that are specifically made for real estate photography. They're extra wide angle lenses. And I use specialized flash modes that are designed for indoor pictures. Now, the better pictures bring in better offers. Now, you all know buyers are all excited about buying. It might be their first home. It might be moving into a new upgraded home. But, the one thing buyers have in common is they love to share information on the biggest purchases of their life. When the listing has better pictures, buyers gaze at them for hours. They send links to those pictures to family and friends. In essence, what they're doing is they're committing themselves to the purchase of that property, which in most cases smooths the remaining parts of the transaction up to and including the closing. Make sure you insist the agent takes pictures of your house before you sign that listing contract. If your real estate agent shows up with a cell phone to take pictures, you might want to consider giving Crossroads Real Estate a call. Now, when I show up with a listing contract in hand, and I take pictures of the inside of the house, the outside of the house, go through, write the notes, look for things that may come up in an inspection and all of that stuff. When I show up and I've got my camera bag, the equipment I got in my camera bag is far and beyond the best phones they have on the market. For one thing, you don't have a phone with an 8mm lens that has like 180 degree focal zoom. Anyway, okay, market reports. Now, there's different MLSs and different market reports. That's why I explained I stick with the Milwaukee Metro MLS, because I think they have the best reports. But you got to understand why those market reports are important. Now, market reports and new listings by email are only the beginning of understanding the local market. When you're working as a buyer and you're getting emails, automatic updates and all that stuff, you get a pretty good idea what that market actually is. But before you decide on a price to list your property or to buy a property, you should get a copy of a CMA showing active, pending, and sold properties in the general area. I mean, real time, real life market data at, what's the market doing at that particular moment. That report should be updated when considering offers as a home seller. The last thing you want to do before you sign that contract is, what is the market at this particular moment? It's the same with buyers. Before you sign an offer to purchase, you should have a report on the local market to check real-time market conditions. Not every real estate agent and broker does this. So the choice is yours. List with an independent broker with a small advertising budget, or pay a higher commission to pay for all that advertising that's not really necessary to sell your home or any property. So I hope you learned something here. Actually, I hope you give me a call. Let's talk about things. Anyway, have a great day.